Go ahead, Phil.
Hi, I'm Phil Horton, and this is...
Craig Mills.
We've decided to come together to do some reviews on some vehicles.
Certainly have.
There's a little bit of a story with this car. I was over in the Isle of Man for the TT, and my car, a BMW 4 Series, was parked up in the high street in Kirkmichael. While I'd gone inside to make myself a cup of tea, came back out and got into the car. The first thing I noticed that was on the screen, there was a note. My first reaction was, I thought I'd been booked for something, as you would do in the Isle of Man. Could have been booked for anything, speeding, and a number of things. So I got out, read it, could see that somebody had left their name, telephone number to tell me who damaged the car. Walked around the back of it, looked at the quarter panel. I thought, oh, well, it's only a bit of quarter panel damage and bumper damage, I'll sort it later. Got into the car, turned the ignition on, every single warning light that you can think of came on. Stopped the vehicle, got out, looked at it again, and the back wheel was like this. God knows I'd missed it. Contacted the police, contacted my insurance company, and this is my courtesy car, while my car was, inverted commas, transported back to the UK to be repaired, as I thought. I've since had a call from my insurance company to tell me that it's a total loss. AX Accident Exchange have been absolutely wonderful. They had the vehicle delivered to my home address so that when I got home from the TT, it was parked outside my house so I could carry on with my work routine. I've since had a call from the insurance company to say that they're going to write it off, and they've left it with me for another week to sort out a vehicle for me to buy to replace the one that they paid me out for.
So, in the week you've had it, Phil, what's been your first overall impression of it? It's a bit newer than what you've had before. I'd say about, was it
2014 was
yeah,
the,
so
was the old one.
You're talking 8 years newer than what you already had.
Yes.
So, how far have they come along since?
They've come along a long way. They've got a lot more gadgets on it. There's an electric handbrake, which I'm not particularly keen on, so
No,
I don't know whether that's good news or bad news. The vehicle has improved. Its handling is a little bit different because it's a 3 Series rather than a 4 Series. Slightly smaller. Seating position I find very good, apart from one thing. When you come to get into it, if you haven't put the seat all the way back, you tend to catch your knees and it's uncomfortable on the steering wheel. But that was the same in my 4 Series, so I've got used to it. The gadgets they've got on it, they move the push button start from the dashboard down to by the gear stick. It's got parking assistance, driving assistance. You could keep going. It's got just so much stuff on it that you could play with to set up how you want the car to drive, but generally the whole performance of the vehicle is great and it's comfortable. It's not hard work at all.
I think we are just about ready to go for a drive, but before we do go out, I do want to quickly touch on the styling of this car. Now, I do think they've come on leaps and leaps and bounds since you talk about the early E30 models, 36, 46, E90. You can see how the kidney grills have gradually got bigger over the years. Now, I remember when the M3 came out with this model, people were talking about it as if, oh, it's horrendous. It's, the pictures were
so much wider, wasn't it?
Exactly that. They were huge, they were tall, but when people saw them in person, that's when the public perception of it changed. Now,
definitely.
What are you finding of it at the front end, Phil?
It looks more attractive to me, and it's not so. I mean, the M3 when it was the big grille, really it looked like a shark's mouth. But this is a little bit kinder to the car. It's still a bit sporty, but it's a diesel.
Yeah. Now, they are sometimes, they're quite aesthetic. In terms of aesthetic, I mean that they don't actually do that much. Is in terms of, these are labelled cold air intakes. There's solid plastic behind them. There's no cold air going in. You have got cold air in there go in there, but these are all superficial. I do believe on the M3 they do actually work and they are channeled up towards the engine. But the 320 It's all there for aesthetics, but you do still get that wide profile on the rear end. Now, previous BMW models, you'd have to get the M3 to get the wideness of that rear. This is a standard 320D MSport. It still has that really wide rear end. It has this aggressive look on the road, which, you know, really does set it apart.
And it's become, it looks a lot longer.
Yeah, definitely. Like a lot of people say, you know, it looks like a 5 Series almost, but you know, you get a 5 Series from, like, say, the E90 generation. I thought it was, I can't remember what, E60, wasn't it? You know, it doesn't even feel as long as this is now. But it's got to be enough talking, isn't it? Should we go ahead and have a drive, see what it can do?
Have a drive.
Let's go.
I feel comfortable in it. It's not. You can't feel the power jumping out the bonnet, but it is there when you want it to be. We're travelling now 39 mile an hour in the 40. And I'm just going to leave it in fourth because we're just running into a 50. And it pulls away quite nicely. That nicely that if there was a police car behind me, it could be questionable about whether I was speeding or not. It soon went up to 55, and again I've put the lane assistant on. We've just passed the cyclist on the left hand side, and as I passed the cyclist on the other side of the road, the steering wanted to bring me back in while I was level with the cyclist, which isn't a particularly good thing. So what do you think of the car sitting in the passenger seat, first of all, Craig?
Overall, quite happy with it, to be honest with you. Thought the ride is hard, but it's going to be hard. It's MSport suspension. There's got to be give and take, isn't there? You don't get performance and handling always at the same time. There does have to be a trade-off. I'm happy with it being a little bit stiffer. That lane departure thing, we've just been having a quick conversation off camera. It is dangerous, isn't it?
Yeah, I've driven trucks with it on, and it's a beeper, and it does move easier. What I've got to say with this, when we went past that cyclist earlier on, I don't know whether you caught it on film, but I was uncomfortable because it pulled me back towards the cyclist. Although I was over the white line and giving him plenty of space, I was conscious of the cyclist's safety. That was my, you know, it was just a panic mode for a minute. But generally, I've got to say I'm impressed. I am impressed. The gearbox is nice to use. The seating position I'm comfortable with. I don't know whether it's because I'm getting older, and we'll have to try it with you. When I come to get into it, I've got to make sure that the seat is all the way back. Otherwise, it's just difficult getting your legs past the steering wheel. Even though I've got the steering wheel all the way up.
That's it, isn't it?
But, yeah.
I'm going to have a go with that, aren't I?
I've got to put the seating back, yeah. You're going to have a go at that.
But score out of 10 overall, taking everything into account. So you're talking comfort, handling, performance, safety, you know, take it all into account. Score out of 10.
I'll give it a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. So there you go. The 320D two-wheel drive has got a 9 out of 10. I think that's pretty much finishes it for this one. So over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be doing this a lot more often. There's going to be some weird and wonderful stuff. There's going to be all sorts. We're going to have performance. We're going to go into commercials. If you guys want to see review anything else, just let us know in the comments. But yeah, on to the next one.
Haven't we got a Kawasaki green?
I've done some research. It's Kyalami green.
Kyalami
green Audi RS3. That's going to be next, isn't it?
We've got an RS Turbo somewhere to do.
Yeah, Nissan Skylines. We've got old Fords, Escorts, Cortinas,
But
Minis.
we're also going to be looking at the more average car as well, because everybody does videos like videos of expensive cars. We want to do the nicer cars, and we also want to do the more affordable cars and our opinion on them. And actually, there is one that we've forgotten about.
Go on.
We've got a Skoda to do.
We've got a Skoda.
A 1.9 diesel automatic that I don't think is a standard car.
Who'd be silly enough to buy one of those?
I wouldn't have a clue.
So we'll end it there. Hopefully we'll see you next week. Thanks very much for checking us out. Cheers.